This was the vision from the beginning, was to have some home playoff games. Was really excited about that opportunity and to see that come to light here this year.
Usually packing the cars up, sending everything back home to home base and getting ready for the offseason. So it feels good preparing for the postseason right now.
We had a really good season, division wins, all that other stuff, but everything is 0-0 now.
We're mentally prepared to play for 5 more weeks.
If you're not prepared to play the next 5 weeks, if you're thinking about anything else, thinking about booking a flight, vacations or anything, don't come in.
Going into this game and after this game, every player should be not only physically exhausted, but mentally exhausted as well.
I think I am built for these moments.
We'll go all out for this game.
All the big games are the same to me. I think the mindset of it just changes a little bit because you know you don't have another game. If you go out there and you don't accomplish the goal.
We don't have anything to hold back. You know what I mean? We don't have a guarantee next week. It's really do or die.
They always tripping. It's always some talking going on somewhere, somehow. If you love football, if you got any competitive bone in your body, you love playing these type of games. The fans make it better though.
It's going to be a special atmosphere, and it almost feels like we've played these guys like 5 or 6 times here in the past month, but I think that'll just make the atmosphere and the battle that much more epic.
This city, it deserves a winner. It deserves a team that's going to be able to make this run.
I think Chicago is just a city that's deeply rooted in history, which is awesome, and it's what makes it such a special place. But that being said, we want to build our own history here.
We're all looking forward to this playoff game and trying to do what we can to try to make this city proud.
You really have felt this city come alive over the course of the season. That's something that I'm grateful for, and so keep a good thing going.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special 1-hour edition of Chicago Sports Tonight. Lou Canellis with you. Cassie Carlson alongside. Tina Nguyen is here as well. And the Score's David Haugh is in the house. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for inviting me.
Let's have some fun with this. This is the biggest game for the Bears since...
Well, the Bears have only been to the playoffs 13 times since they won the Super Bowl back in 1985, and we're still talking about that team. I'm going to go 2020 was a wash, biggest game since 2018 and the double doink. The Bears just don't get to this point all the time. That's just a matter of fact. Even Ben Johnson said he was caught off guard just how few times they've been to the playoffs. And given the fact that it's Bears-Packers, this game means even more. And so I think it's going to be a huge one Saturday night.
Bears and Packers, you're the history that comes with this kind of match. Where I love hearing Ben Johnson say we're prepared to continue to play football. You got Packers players here talking some smack. I mean, Ben Johnson getting ready for his first playoff run in Chicago. Caleb Williams getting ready to make his first playoff start here. There was a lot of pressure, right, on both of these teams in the regular season. There's pressure now to keep your season alive.
Cassie's right. It is 2018 because it was the last time there was a playoff matchup with this kind of magnitude. But for Bears fans, I think for Chicago, because it is the Packers, it makes it different. This isn't the Eagles. This is your rival. The Packers makes everything seem bigger, everything seem heavier. There's going to be more at stake than just an outcome, more at stake than just being able to advance. It is the Packers, and for that reason, it's the biggest one since the last time they played the playoffs. That was for the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
You were there, I was there, Jay Cutler was there for a half, and everybody remembers that because you know what? That was huge. The winner went to the Super Bowl, and the loser went home. Tomorrow night, it won't be quite that big, but it will feel that big because of who the opponent is.
Yeah, I'll even go back to when they ended up knocking off the Saints to get to the Super Bowl all the way back in 2006. That's how big this game is. I am tired. I am tired of having the Packers' foot on my throat. All right, no more. It ends on Saturday night. Bears-Packers will meet for the third time in 35 days, just the third time in the playoffs in the history of this rivalry.
After the game, he said, if you're not prepared to play the next 5 weeks, if you're thinking about anything else, thinking about booking a flight, vacations or anything, don't come in. So he made it very clear about what's at stake and what this team is looking for.
Since I got here, the vision has always been let's have home playoff games at Soldier, and I'm proud of our guys being able to bring that vision to life this year, and hopefully we can come out and make our fans proud here this weekend.
It doesn't matter who gets the yards or touchdowns or who has good stats or who doesn't. All that matters is that we want to win. It doesn't matter how we win and what it looks like. It's just offense, defense, special teams. We're a whole unit going after them, and each game's different. But I think everyone just wants to play for each other, and I think that kind of theme is kind of been constant.
We had a really good season, division wins, all that other stuff, but everything is 0-0 now. Even the playoff stats reset, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, we have a great opportunity to go on a run.
Me being the quarterback, having been as a coach, and then having the guys that we have, I've said it multiple times, we got a lot of guys that care and care about each other, but also care about winning. And you put that tandem together, and you can do a lot. And we've done a good job so far this year, but we got a lot more coming.
Yeah, it's such a big game. I was even thinking of 2013, the Aaron Rodgers to Randall Cobb. That's how scarred I am as a Bears fan. Mostly healthy injury report. C.J. Gardner-Johnson's out. No other notable injuries for the Bears. Kyler Gordon questionable, but he was a full participant in practice, and he's expected to play. Even put out a TikTok video this morning that he'll see everyone on Saturday.
Yeah, players reporting their own injury news. That's the day and age we are in. And the NFL, I woke up to a text from a friend with a link to the TikTok, and I'm like, of course Spider-Man would announce it on TikTok. But getting Kyler Gordon back could be key. I say could be key for this defense because he's only played in 3 games this season. And Ben Johnson even said he was so excited about being able to have Kyler Gordon on this defense and just doesn't really know the player that well. And he got hurt in pregame warmups against the Packers. And so I think there's a little bit of hesitancy, probably rushing him back a week early because they're down C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So I don't know what version we're going to get of Kyler Gordon, and that's why I think you're a little bit concerned.
Before you guys jump in, let me just jump in real quick, Dave, because I want to hear some sound. Odunze, also a full participant. He's back as well. Let's listen in.
What would it mean to get Kyler back?
It's a lot. That's Spider-Man. He could, it is. I mean, he could blitz, he could do whatever, he could cover. And we got a lot of energy and passion, especially when me and him's on the field. It's dangerous, so it's gonna be great.
That gives us another playmaker. Obviously it's been unfortunate that we haven't had him much, this season. But he was a guy that coming into the season we were really excited about, and I feel like. He can help us make some plays and help us win.
Obviously, it helped me learn a lot about myself, too. Obviously, it's my first time being out in the league, so having to sit out, it makes you grateful for the game. So I'm re-energized, rejuvenated, just like, Ben has said to us, but yeah.
David, I was listening to you and Molly this morning on The Score, and I thought you raised a great question. Who's going to have a bigger impact in this game, Kyler Gordon or Odunze?
I think the answer's got to be Kyler Gordon. And I think that he is good. They need him more to play that position because C.J. Gardner-Johnson is out. I'm going to wait until the TikTok before kickoff because pregame warm-ups are still very dangerous things for the Chicago Bears. So if Kyler Gordon does play, I think he's going to be in a position where they have to have him help stop the run. That's where your run defense improves, where he can get to the quarterback on a blitz because he wasn't there the first time. He's a little different in every single way. He's a lot more athletic, too, covering guys if he do get caught in man coverage. So with due respect to Odunze, they have other receivers. Luther Burden III has emerged. You know what DJ Moore is going to give you. So I think it's got to be Kyler Gordon.
It's important to have both of these players back in a game like this. I think specifically, though, with Kyler Gordon, right, the versatility that he brings, he's a veteran, right, on that defensive unit, but the run support, as you mentioned, when it comes to covering receivers in the slot as well, they need him here, and also, too, hopefully that can open up some things on defense for them, too.
Packers have lost 4 in a row going into this game. Does that make you feel better about the matchup?
No, I think because all things go out the window when you're playing your rival, and given the fact that the last 4 meetings between these two teams have all ended on the last play of the game, makes the stakes even higher, and you can only bet that it's going to be another close game Saturday night. And given the way the locker rooms are handling this, Luther Burden tweeted something out. I love that we're going to social media for all our news these days. He tweeted out the zipper emoji, and I feel like the players are taking notes that the Packers are deciding to be a little bit outwardly cocky heading into this game, and they've had the opposite approach, and they're going to keep all their comments to themselves until after the game, just like they did after the overtime win.
Lou, I do think it's significant the Packers haven't won since they lost Micah Parsons. And I do think psychologically that's a big hurdle for a defense to clear and for a team to clear, because that to me says a couple things. Number one, maybe there is a psychological disadvantage, but also it just tells you how limited they are as a football team. They're not as complete as they were, as any team would be when you lose a guy like that and when you are compromised and have as many players lost to injury. So this Green Bay Packer team, with due respect to Dan Orlovsky, who I know thinks that the Packers are going to win handily, I just am not sure that this is the same Packer team that started the season when they looked as impressive as they did.
You know what, Tina, before you jump in, and let me ask you the question, because there are many out there who feel that even without Micah Parsons, this is a better roster in Green Bay than what the Bears have, with a healthy Jordan Love back. Josh Jacobs coming off his leg injury, feeling much better. Zach Tom now part of the offensive line. Even Evan Williams now part of their secondary, real good against the run. Do you think it's a better roster than the Bears?
I think when you look at this Packers team, especially their defense, no Micah Parsons, right? No Devontae Wyatt. Again, they went to sign someone on the Giants practice squad, Jordan Riley. He ends up getting hurt. I think their D-line, especially on the interior, it's not that great. It's, I think, one of the worst in football. And I think when you look at the Bears offensively and the rushing attack here, for the Bears, it's going to be key to really run the ball against this Packers defense.
Lou, that's a question. The answer changes depending on what month you ask it. If you ask it in August, I think it's overwhelming the Packers had a better roster to start the season. You look at it now, and the Bears have had these contributions from the rookie class that I don't think anybody could have reasonably expected. So now you're looking at Luther Burden as an asset. Manungai you trust. Ozzie Trapillo, if he plays, you're like, whew, at least he's back, because now he's not a question mark. He's an exclamation point. And that rookie contribution is something that when you look at the completeness of the roster, changes your answer.
I think right now, too, when you look at the way the Bears roster is formed and you're looking at the offensive line, that would be the way that you're pointing to. Previous years, we were like, all right, that's a lot weaker, but that is the strength of this team. And the fact that the interior of the offensive line has played every single game, and they have Joe Thuney on that offensive line, who has won 4 Super Bowls, to have that voice in the locker room, I think plays a huge role in how what you could consider a very inexperienced playoff team to bring some experience to very key positions.
You're on it. Cassie is on it. Look at the units for each of these teams. Offensive lines for both teams, defensive lines for both teams, secondaries, receiving corps, and even positions at quarterback. The Bears' offensive line is the strongest unit of them all. And in the playoffs, that's what usually prevails, is who has the strongest unit and how will that dictate the outcome of the game. The Bears are going to lean on their offensive line. Ben Johnson is going to do that. And if he does, it's going to be the smart thing.
David, I'm glad that you're saying that. Then why are so many experts or so-called experts out there taking the Packers?
This is new territory for the Bears. The Packers have been to the playoffs 6 out of 7 years with Matt LaFleur. And the Bears are this team that they've always faltered in these moments. They're what some will say ahead of schedule. They're in year 1 of Ben Johnson, year 2 of Caleb Williams. No one wanted to give Caleb Williams credit at the beginning of the season, and to see the trajectory that he's been on, to be at this point, 6 comeback wins. I don't know that people believe that can be sustained in the playoffs, but the Bears have proven everyone wrong this season.
It's the Packers' pedigree versus the Bears' belief. And belief is vague, and you haven't seen it, and they haven't done it. So there is going to be doubt, and that's understandable.
I am built for these moments. Mentality-wise, how I've worked, and so that's I've been in a bunch of big games before. I think it's just the trust in myself, the belief in myself, a little bit of that arrogant confidence on the football field.
Yeah, 4 games against the Packers. Caleb Williams 2-2, 5 touchdown passes, 1 interception, and a 91 passer rating. Pretty good. Welcome back to a special 1-hour edition of Chicago Sports Tonight. Cassie Carlson, Tina Nguyen, the scorers David Haugh on the house. Ben Johnson said Caleb Williams is a big-time player. How confident are you that Caleb's going to have a big game on Saturday night?
Very confident. So far, what we've learned about Caleb Williams, right, when the game is on the line, when there's pressure, he tends to perform better. I think one thing going into this Ben Johnson offense was, how was Caleb Williams going to play within the structure of the offense? And I think so far, we've seen a good balance of both, right? When it seems like these last few games, the game's really slowed down for him. But on those early downs, he's going through his progression, going through his reads. And then on those later downs, right, I think Ben's trusting him more to kind of become Houdini, make something out of nothing. I will say, though, he's making his first postseason start tomorrow. There are going to be some rough moments, but I do think he's a confident quarterback, and his head coach as well, right? The game plan that Ben Johnson's going to have for this, I trust him too.
I hope he's not afraid to make plays with his feet. I think that's going to be the one thing that could really be a difference maker against the Packers are going to be better equipped to stop them this time, the 3rd time in 35 days. They know what they're looking at. They may not be as susceptible to motions and shifts and formations. They know the personnel groupings. And Caleb Williams, with his 3rd down, the best option might not be to try to squeeze it into a window to Colston Love, but it might be to see all the green grass and pick up the 1st down and keep the chains moving. The Bears' offense can be the best defense. The defense is going to be The defense is weak. We've all agreed on that. The Bear offense can help out by keeping the chains moving and possessing the ball.
We have not seen Caleb Williams be nervous in any of these big moments. He said he's only been nervous one time in his life. That was back in high school. And so he is built for these moments. It's why they took him #1 overall, why he was a Heisman winner. And so I think you're going to see Caleb Williams show up on the biggest stage. I also don't think he has to be Superman. It's something that Kevin Byard talked about this week when Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams, and KB all said that this is a different quarterback than what we saw week 1 because he's processing the game faster. He's more confident in the huddle. He can get the plays out quicker. That allows the whole whole offense to operate more smoothly. And so I think that he is going to be a distributor, and as David mentioned, use his legs when we need it. We didn't see that so much the last 2 weeks. And also with Ben Johnson saying last week was one of the more simple game plans, I think that was intentional for a reason, because the shifts in motions were at the peak against the Eagles, and I think they're going to save that in his best stuff for the playoffs.
Guys, he's been on this stage before. He was part of the Red River Shootout, Oklahoma, Texas, man. That comeback for OU was big time. Speaking of big time, this Bears offense has to be big time to start a football game. I was looking back. First 2 games, opening drive, they scored touchdowns. First 2 games of the season, folks. Yes, even in that blowout against Detroit. Last 5 games, Cassie, boy, they have been awful in the first half.
Yeah,
How do they fix it?
A lot of missed assignments, some penalties along the way. I think you can look back to the Green Bay game where they had the cutesy play in the red zone that you wish that they had back and just played more simple football. I mean, I think it's a sense of urgency that this team knows they need to have, and that's going to come from focus and practice this week.
They are locked in. There's no doubt about it. I don't think you're going to see the cutesy play. I don't think Ben Johnson is going to take this occasion to remind everybody how creative he is.
No Wildcat?
No, I don't think so.
Drive 80 yards, running game is going great, and all of a sudden the Wildcat?
This is an opportunity to show everybody how disciplined he is, how intense this team is, and how they will reflect his tenacity all week long, all season long. They're going to run the ball right down the Packers' throats, or they're going to try, I believe, because that's how you, again, everything, we say it so often, it is a cliche, complementary football. The Bear defense has given up too many yards in the last 3 games. The best way to handle that, Ben Johnson knows this, is to keep the other offense off the field. Yes. And then you eat the clock, you move the chains, and you hand the ball off. Caleb Williams doesn't have to be Superman, but I think maybe Kyle Monunga does. or DeAndre Swift. You're going to lean on your running backs, lean on your offensive line, and play to your strengths.
I love this question that I came up with, by the way.
Of course you
I'm patting myself on the back. 8 Bears games have come down to the final play. 6 were winners. Are the Bears lucky, or are they good, Tina?
Can I say both? Can I say both?
Yeah, of
I
course
will
you
say,
can.
though, there's some luck
You have
that's
to be good to be lucky.
There's some luck that's involved in here, even when you look at the defense and the 33 takeaways so far this season. I think in this game specifically, here's one thing with Ben Johnson when it comes to him and being as a play caller. When you think he's going to zig, he zags. We've seen Ben Johnson like to pass to set up the run. He likes to soften up the defense a little bit. I think in this game, you're going to have to reverse this trend a little bit and go out there and run the ball. Do to the Packers what the Ravens did to them, which is run the ball.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. They're a little bit of both, but I think, as you mentioned, you have to be good to be lucky, and you have to have belief to be able to come back in the fourth quarter. And that's like the buzzword in the locker room this year is belief. And at the beginning, you're like, is that a little phony? Can belief really take you that far? But the more and more you started to hear it, the more the outside started to believe that they truly do think that they have talent in the locker room, which they do because they have shown that on the field now. And they have, I think, what Joe Thuney said is the selflessness of not caring who has the stats, who scores the touchdowns, to take this team to a potential run.
This is a good football team. I'm surprised that I'm saying that now, because I didn't think so at the beginning of the season. But this is a good football team, and good football teams create their own luck. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. This Bears team is always prepared. They are always the team that you know we're going to do the right thing. Never thought that I would be saying that about a Bears team, because tradition tells you to doubt them. That's coaching. This thing started to turn around about a year ago when they hired Ben Johnson, when they decided that they were going to spend and outspend everybody and get the best coach available. This is what happens when coaching matters, and coaching does matter.
All right, Bears defense has struggled stopping opposing offenses from moving the football of late. Here is Nashawn Wright on what the defense needs to do against Green Bay's potent offensive attack.
When it comes to third down and red zone, is that more a mentality thing than anything, knowing that Green Bay is so good on third down and you guys at times against them have really hunkered down in the red zone?
Yeah, I mean, we're going into this game trying to get off the field on third down. They're, I think, second in the league on third down conversion. So obviously getting off the field on third down would be great. But if we do have to go and play down in the red, just keeping them from scoring. And I think in the first game, I think we did a pretty good job of that. And we limited them from scoring, and which ultimately led us to winning. So, but yeah, I think we're trying to get off the field on third down for sure this week.
Bears Game Day Live, Packers, Bears, coming up tomorrow, 12:30. More of Cassie Carlson's interview with Nashawn Wright, and then we've got the Bears and Packers game at 7 o'clock. Bears defense last 3 games against the Packers. 6 for 12 on third down in Week 16. Against the 49ers, 7 for 10 on third down in Week 17. Against the Lions in the regular season finale, 6 for 13 on third down in Week 18. Tina, the Bears defense has to be so much better on third down and get off the field.
They do. And you've seen what Dennis Allen has done so far this season, especially on third down here. But again, you are facing a Green Bay team that's got a really good third down offense. I think overall, when you look at this defense, what DA has done so far when it comes to like creating defensive disguises to really confuse opposing quarterbacks, it's really led to them, right, having that opportunistic mindset, the 33 takeaways. But we've seen they need to get multiple takeaways here if they want to win. That's been a big part of the identity this season.
David and Cassie, I'm going to end this segment with you guys. We're all ripping the Bears defense. I mean, we're criticizing it, not ripping it, criticizing it. But Ben Johnson said, hey, wait. We gave up 16 points last week to Detroit, a high-powered offense until the final field goal. We gave up 16 points to the Packers. We all know what happened in San Francisco. And points are what matters. So debate the coach and tell him that, no, your defense is not very good, Ben Johnson.
It's not very good, Ben Johnson, because I think it doesn't tackle real well right now. Offensive coaches are always going to look at things through the offensive prism, and I respect Ben Johnson for that, but that's why he was so ticked off after the game on Sunday. His offense didn't score enough points, but defensively, they're not fundamentally sound. They're not making sure tackles. They're not covering tight enough. There are too many gaps in the zones, and the man-to-man coverage is lacking. So you're not winning one-on-one battles up front. It's all about the technique. It's all about the tenacity. Tackling is a state of mind. So the Bears have not tackled well on third downs, so they're not getting off the field.
Well, I think Ben Johnson knows his defense isn't very good either, and that's why he's sending that bend, don't break mentality that Dennis Allen even said this week, which was a little bit shocking. Rush and coverage work together, so when there's no pass rush, it's going to be really hard for your secondary, which has some banged-up guys playing, to cover these guys. And when you look at the array of receivers that Jordan Love has, all of them back healthy just in time, it's going to be a tough test, which is why I think this offense is going to be prepared to put up points.
I've got tremendous amount of respect for the coaches and the players in this league. And to be quite frank with you, I kind of enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur twice a year.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool deal. I think anytime you're talking about division rivals and you're in the playoffs with a lot at stake, I think it just heightens it a little bit.
Welcome back to CST. Lou Canellis with you. Time for our ChevyDriveChicago.com NFC North preview. I just love the dislike that these two coaches have for each other. I'm the old guy here because I remember how much Forrest Gregg of the Packers and Mike Ditka hated each other.
It's not quite to that level, but
not yet.
You did like the fact that from day one, Ben Johnson was aware and wasn't afraid to name check him.
Yeah, he's the one that stoked the fire because Matt LaFleur is the one who wanted no part to do with this in the offseason until I feel like the season came along and then he had to start to answer more questions about it. Then he beats the Bears first time around. He's like, all right, you want to talk now? Now we got the upper hand and we can talk.
Well, I'll tell you what, as we get Tina's opinion as well, I had dinner with someone who had dinner with Matt LaFleur.
That's
and they
shady
talked,
talk right there.
Yeah, it is. But they talked about it, and LaFleur said, I was caught off guard as much as anyone.
They don't know each other. They don't have a relationship.
Who the heck are you?
I don't think they'll be going to Marquette games together.
No, they will not. What do you think,
Absolutely
Tina?
not. No, I love that Matt LaFleur was caught off guard there. Again, Ben Johnson introductory press conference saying how much he loves beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Well, now this is his chance come this weekend.
That's for sure. I want to go to Wisconsin, bring in Lily Zhao from Fox 6 in Milwaukee. Lily always bringing us great Packers info on First and North, seen Tuesdays, 9:30 right here on Fox Chicago. Hey, Lily, Packers go into this game. They're on a 4-game losing skid. But, man, they look awfully confident this week, talking about how they can't wait to end the Bears season, and they're upset about the Austin Booker hit on Jordan Love. Are they really that confident coming off this losing skid?
I think you have to be, right? You're not going to just kind of concede and say, oh, we have no shot against the Chicago Bears. I think every single Packers player, after they lost in Chicago, wanted to make sure that they made their way back to Soldier Field and to get one back against the Bears. And listen, this is a Packers team. Both sides are banged up, but the Green Bay Packers have certainly had their share of injuries to really key players in the season. But despite that, I think they are at this point the healthiest they have been all season long. the back half at least, to play Chicago. They're going to have a couple key guys that were not in that Week 16 game that will be playing, and that's going to be really important. But listen, the guys are talking in the locker room as they should, but now they have to go back on the field and prove they can beat the Bears. It is going to be a raucous environment. I'm really stoked, guys, but I really do love the fact that the Packers are confident in this wild card round matchup, because remember, they were the first 7 seed to beat a number 2 seed a couple of years ago. They have the chance to be the second 7 seed to do that again.
So Lily Zhao and I met each other for the first time in person at Hallis Hall on Wednesday because she came down to practice and was in the locker room at Hallis Hall. And I want to hear your perspective because you said you like the way that the Packers are talking. What were your takeaways from talking to Bears players about this matchup? Because I feel like they've been more tight-lipped about round 3.
You're right. They were a little bit more tight-lipped, and I appreciated that. Again, this is a team like you guys have talked about all week. They haven't been in the postseason in 5 years, but there are players in the locker room who have been, who were in Chicago. But they were very respectful, and you have to love their perspective. I love the locker room. It was just a nice change of scenery to kind of get to see, what you guys are able to do there on a daily basis and talk with guys who I normally don't get to talk to. But the confidence level is there. They trust Caleb Williams. They trust their defense to get after Jordan Love and make a difference. And so I really appreciated the other side and the perspective there from Bears players. And I just love hearing from those guys. And it was fun talking with Jonathan Owens, who's been on both sides of this thing. And he was like, as much respect as I have for the Packers and Jordan Love, like, this is my team and I'm excited to see them shine. So we'll see. It'll be really, really fun, guys.
Lily, injuries have certainly been a main concern for the Packers, especially defensively. You look at the D-line, right? No Micah Parsons. They have not been the same. Devontae Wyatt is out. Packers went and signed someone from the Giants practice squad. I believe Jordan Riley, he gets hurt as well. So multiple guys on IR. How concerned are you defensively for the Packers as they face this Ben Johnson offense and the rushing attack for the Bears?
Yeah, it's going to be a big challenge. I mean, credit to the Packers defense playing as well as they did for 58 minutes back in that Week 16 matchup without Micah Parsons. They played really good defensive football for 58 minutes, and then the last 2, throw it out the window. It was terrible, terrible defensive football. But the fact that they are so banged up means that we could potentially see Trayvon Diggs, the newest corner from the Dallas Cowboys, earn a starting role on Saturday night. That's just what it is like in Green Bay when you're that banged up at that position. Keyshawn Nixon and Carrington Valentine are essentially your only 2 healthy cornerbacks at that spot. Nate Hobbs is on IR. Bo Melton, who played both ways, is on IR. So you're going to rely on a guy like Trayvon Diggs, and it's going to be all hands on deck. They're thin up front, so it's going to be youngsters like Colby Wooden and Warren Brinson and Nazir Stackhouse. I'm sure some guys that Bears fans are like, who is she talking about? Those are guys that are going to be tasked with stopping DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monungai. It's just the reality of it. But you can always credit Jeff Hafley, their defensive coordinator, for cooking up a really good scheme. But I think the number one thing for this depleted defense is if they can get after Caleb Williams, they've got a shot.
Lily, the last time we saw Jordan Love was at Soldier Field. The last time we saw Jordan Love in the playoffs was last year. Didn't go so well. What version of Jordan Love do you think we're going to see Saturday night?
I think for Jordan Love, it's going to be, he wants to be the best quarterback on the field. Credit to Caleb Williams and what this Bears offense has been able to do in the fourth quarter with 6 fourth-quarter comebacks. But for Jordan Love, it's the mentality of, I'm going to manage this game. I'm not going to turn the ball over. But most importantly, I'm going to stay upright. I think it's a lot on the offensive line to keep him protected and make sure he doesn't take any sort of unnecessary hit. But I think for Jordan Love, a lot of people talking about the rust factor of it. I mean, it's the reality of it. They were not going to put him out there in Week 18 if they didn't have to. They have to keep him healthy, and that's just the reality of it. He's gotten a lot of reps in practice with the number 1 offense. So they're just hoping that that's good enough. But again, he's a quarterback who, in his 3rd year as a starter, is back in the postseason. He's been in the spot before, so he knows what's at stake and how to play. So I think we're going to see a really good version of Jordan Love, and one that will not be looking rusty on Saturday night.
Packers been talking a lot of smack about getting back at the Bears after the Austin Booker hit. Listen in.
A lot of guys took that hit that he took a little personal, so I'm not saying we're going to go out there and play dirty or nothing like that, but we're definitely going to defend our brothers.
What a blessing to be here for me and my family. So I appreciate that, and we are not going to be done. So I will see you guys next week.
Yeah, I love his confidence there. Hey, Lily, do me a favor. Tell Josh Jacobs, tell Christian Watkins, who said he can't wait to see the Bears season come to an end, Hafley as well. just listen, go out and play football. I don't know if you saw what Grady Jarrett said yesterday. I know that you did, Cassie, inside the locker room. He goes, we're playing football here. What are they talking about? I hope they're really caught up in seeking revenge against the Bears. I'll take the flags in the 15 yards if they are.
Yeah, they got to be careful with that, though. Listen, the tensions will be high, but the last thing that Matt LaFleur is going to tolerate is a penalty that is unnecessary. They got to just keep their cool. They have to realize what is at stake. It's one and done. So you can't have any sort of unnecessary penalties. Guys will certainly be jacked up, especially if one of their teammates gets hit in, a way that they didn't appreciate. So I'm hoping that they do keep their cool. It's one thing to talk in the locker room, but you got to just be smart on the football field. You can't have penalties that cost your team 15 yards or even more than that. So, I appreciate the guys stepping up for Jordan Love. But, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, Josh Jacobs is going to do something dirty if he can't. I don't think that was what he meant. I think it's if something does happen, they're going to stick up for their teammate. But I don't think they're going to be headhunting or anything crazy like that out on the field.
Lily, it comes out this week that Matt LaFleur might be coaching for his job in this game. If the Bears beat the Packers, do you truly believe he won't be back next year?
I think it's kind of, I was 50-50. On First and North, I said I don't think whatsoever that he will be out. But, if the Packers get blown out in Chicago, his seat's going to be really hot. But if you lose in a very tight fourth quarter game, I still think he's the head coach in Green Bay. But that being said, you're right. I think it's an audition for Matt LaFleur to prove to Ed Policy, who took over for Mark Murphy, that he is going to be the guy that deserves an extension, or deserves to be the Packers head coach in the near future. I think Brian Gutekunst, the GM, will get extended. But I think Matt LaFleur is coaching for his job. But I don't think, though, that a loss, unless it's an egregious one, will have him out the door. I think this is still a coach that has gotten his team to the playoffs 6 years out of the 7 he's been in town. But that being said, the last 3 years, just one playoff win to show for it. So I think he's got to deliver in a big way on Saturday to keep his job.
Lily, thanks so much for the time. I know you're busy this weekend as well. Safe travels to Chicago. We can't wait to host you and then send you back with a loss.
I can't wait. Can't wait to see you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Give me one thing Chicago does well defensively outside
Turn the football over.
Outside of get the ball over.
And it doesn't matter. You can't take it away from them. They take the football over.
Unintended. I think teams give it to them at times, but they don't have anything else. There's nothing else that this defense is good at. Chicago, in games when they don't get multiple takeaways, not just one, multiple, is 2-6 this year. 2, and let's be honest, okay? This is not hating. Eventually, in the playoffs, when your offense is inconsistent, there's only so many times over the course of a season when you can play inconsistent offensive football and still hang on to the end of the game miracle. It's just unlikely that is going to be a storyline in the playoffs versus high-end teams that are coached well.
ESPN's Dan Orlovsky, adamant about the Bears' magic carpet ride coming to an end Saturday night. Jump in, guys, because I'm ready.
Well, we're giving him the attention he so desperately seeks, but I think when you make the point, and the defense is compromised and vulnerable, but it also was a defense you have to respect the takeaways. And did they get takeaways, multiple takeaways in 9 of their 11 victories? Yes. But they won 9 of those games, and they have 11 victories. So theoretically, they are good enough to take the ball away again in a moment as big as Saturday's is.
And I think you could look to 2 games where the defense needed to step up big time. One Black Friday against the Eagles, where they totally shut down that offense. And then in the second round against the Packers, when they were 0 for 5 in the red zone. And this team knows that they need to get off the field. They can't allow the Packers to have success on third down, which they're second best in the league at. And they can't let them score touchdowns in the red zone. If they can lock in on that mentality and get off the field, find stops, 1 or 2 stops even maybe, because we know the Bears could maybe compete in a shootout, as we saw in San Francisco. This defense, they have some dudes on it that know what's at stake and can lead them to it.
We've seen injuries impact this defense all season long, but we've also seen guys step up, right, and really answer the call. I'm a little shocked there because Dan Orlovsky has been pro-Bear, a lot throughout this season here, but I feel like this is a different Bears group. This is a confident bunch here, and Ben Johnson has instilled this belief on this team.
All right, I want to throw up a full screen to look at the true numbers of this defense. Specifically, we're going to talk about the turnovers. And really, they're plus 22. They've allowed only 20 points per game. And guys, I really truly believe that defensive coordinator Dennis Allen is going to put together a defensive scheme. I get it. The numbers they're perfect. They're 9-0 when they have 2 or more turnovers. They are going to put together a defensive game plan that puts Jordan Love in uncomfortable spots. And he showed last year in the playoffs, he threw 3 interceptions against the Eagles.
No.
So he will turn it over.
I know, but what's the uncomfortable spot for Jordan Love, who's really good against the blitz, and the Bears have shown that's the only way
uncomfortable,
they can.
right.
That's the only way they can get to the quarterback. So that's, I think, where you're wondering how the Bears are going to put pressure on Jordan Love. Is it Montez Sweat? Because he has 10 sacks this season and double digits for one team for the first time in his career, but it hasn't been consistent over the entirety of the season. Can Grady Jarrett get some pressure up the middle?
It's going to have to be that. Cassie's exactly right. When you blitz Jordan Love, he has responded in a way that he's come through in the clutch. What you've got to do is win one-on-one battles. Montez Sweat has got to be the guy this week that actually gets to the quarterback and finishes the job. Could be Grady Jarrett, could be Javon Dexter, could be a lot of things. You have to get pressure with your front four.
Bears, by the way, currently 1.5 underdogs in a home game in the playoffs. I want to bring in my friend of the show of CST, Chicago Sports Tonight, Nick Costos from You Better You Bet, now on the Westwood One Network. Congrats on the new show, my friend. This line has been real fun to watch since it came out last weekend. It has jumped around. Opened with the Packers favored by 1.5. Then money came in on the Bears, and they became 1.5 favorites. And now Green Bay is 1.5 favorite. Where are you going with this game, Nick?
Well, Lou, great to be on with you guys ahead of a Bears playoff game this weekend. And you're right, we've kind of danced around with either team being a small favorite in the game. The Packers are a small favorite now, Lou, as you said, at BetMGM. I actually think the movement on the total has been really interesting as well, where this was 46.5. Now we're down to 44.5 with potential wind in the forecast. And I've been saying this on my national show all week. Like, who would have thunk it, right? Like, Windy City, like a January outdoor game at night, that there's going to be wind in the forecast potentially. So we've seen the total come down here, almost down to 44. If the wind's going to be really bad, then maybe both teams won't be able to pass the football. And I think if you're a Bears fan, which I'm sure a lot of your audience is, and if you want to bet the Bears, I think you should be rooting for a lot of wind, because I actually think that favors Chicago with a more physical offensive line and a more physical run game than the Green Bay Packers have. But Lou, I'll say this to you and your panel. If the wind is not going to be bad, and right now it doesn't look like it'll be too bad heading into Saturday night, I think Green Bay is going to win the game, and I think Green Bay is a deserved favorite here because Jordan Love, I think, will have time to throw the ball, and the Packers will have their full complement of the offensive playbook available to them. So it's kind of dependent on the weather. If the wind's not bad, I like Green Bay, and I really like the over in the game as well, 44.5. I think both offenses will be able to score here if the wind is not going to be bad on Saturday night.
Nick, I think we keep talking about the method for the Bears to put up some points against this Green Bay defense, and we all go back to what got them to this point, and that's running the ball. Any prop bets on Bears running backs that you like in this game?
Yeah, I think that we could see both Swift and Monangai potentially have nice games here against the Green Bay Packers run defense that's obviously missing a number of key players, most notably Micah Parsons. As of right now, we are looking at Swift 59.5 and Monangai at 41.5. I would more prefer Swift if this is going to be a game where the wind is not going to be terrible. If the wind's going to be bad, then I think that they could use Monangai as the hammer. So I do like both guys in the game. I think both could have nice games for Chicago. I really do think, and I'm not trying to give a cop-out answer here, it is a little weather dependent, where I think if the wind is bad and they can't throw, I think it's going to be a ton of Kyle Monangai, who's more of the physical back as opposed to more of a satellite back in DeAndre Swift.
Nick, you said the over-under now is, at 44.5? I do agree with you. I do think they're going to be a lot more points scored here in this game. But tell me, any value in taking Bears' money line, or is there true value in really taking the spread and going with the points here?
Yeah, I think if you like the Chicago Bears, I think you can just bet them to win the game. Like, we're basically, the game can end on one, like a team winning by one. Feels like unlikely that would be the case in a game with a reasonably decent total. So I think if you like the Bears, I would just bet the Bears to win. If you like Green Bay, I would just bet Green Bay to win. Again, I more lean towards the Packers if the weather is going to be okay. But the betting market says it's a coin flip game. It obviously could go either way. I lean more towards Green Bay. Think it'll be a higher scoring game, and Lou knows this because I gave this bet out a bunch down the stretch of the season. I love both Bears rookie pass catchers, right? Colston Loveland, who's kind of emerged as the #1 weapon in this passing attack, and I think the best receiver on the team, even with a healthy Rome Odunze, is Luther Burden, who's an absolute stud. Burden's receiving yards prop 37.5, Loveland 45.5. I like the Luther Burden over receiving yards prop coming up on Saturday night.
Nick, believe it or not, there are other playoff games going on this weekend.
Are there?
What do you like?
Oh, yeah, like a good amount here. Let's go to Sunday night with the Chargers and the Patriots in Foxborough. Now, the Chargers sat all their starters last week against the Denver Broncos, and yes, it's partially to get guys like quarterback Justin Herbert healthy. I wouldn't be surprised if it came out that the Chargers purposefully lost that game to get the 7 seed to go to New England, because while Drake May is an absolute stud, and we love the Drake, he might win MVP, the Patriots don't have much of a defense to speak of and not much of a pass rush to speak of. And that's how you can get to the Chargers down 2 all-pro offensive tackles in Joe Walton, Rashawn Slater. So I think Justin Herbert's going to have time to throw the football. I love the Chargers plus 3.5. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chargers won this game outright, and Justin Herbert can be Kendrick Lamar, and take down Drake on Sunday night. And if we go to Monday night quickly, Steelers and the Texans in Pittsburgh. Houston is a 3-point road favorite. I totally disagree with that point spread. I think the Steelers are very live to win this game, and if you can get 3, and that number is available as of right now on Friday, I like the Steelers plus 3 on Monday night and the Steelers to win on Monday against Houston.
Nick, can you quickly tell me who you like in the NFC playoff picture? Give it to me in less than a minute.
I like the Philadelphia Eagles or the Los Angeles Rams. I think those are the 2 most likely teams to win the Super Bowl. And just on the Bears, and I think you guys know this, right? And David and Lou certainly, because I've done a lot of media with you guys. I was big on the Bears all season this year. I bet them over the win total. I bet them to win the NFC North. So I'm not anti-Chicago. I think the Bears are probably a year early as far as being a legit Super Bowl contender. We can have that conversation next year, I think, for the Chicago Bears. And I know the Bears beat the Eagles on Black Friday. I would pick the Eagles if they played again. I think it will be the Eagles or the Rams in the NFC. And if they do play, the Eagles will have home field in that game, which leads me towards liking the reigning defending Super Bowl champion Eagles to come out of the NFC and win the Super Bowl. If it's not the Eagles, I do think it'll be the LA Rams.
Great work as always. Again, congrats on the new show. We will talk to you hopefully next week about another Bears game, right?
Looking forward to it. And, well, if I'm betting the Packers, I kind of don't hope it's the Bears. But wishing everybody minimal sweats, winning bets, the absolute very best of luck.
Snow in the forecast, potentially. Depends if you're watching the right forecast, and that's with Emily Walls here and Mike Kaplan and the crew on Fox Chicago. It could, though, be an epic scene at Soldier Field, that's for sure, with the wintry conditions. Which team does it benefit? If it's snowing, if it's windy, if it's really cold, or, hey, man, they're in Green Bay.
They're dealing with the same kind of conditions.
That's why I wanted the Niners.
And Cairo Santos, he was talking with Ben Johnson on the practice field when we were out there for availability yesterday, and I'm like, I wonder what they're talking about. They're talking about that wind, if they're going to take the ball first, how this is going to be strategized throughout special teams. Maybe they made a trip down to Soldier Field this week to get a feel for it. That's all part of the game plan. Richard Hightower is in his bag when there's windy conditions.
But bad weather tends to favor the team that runs the ball best.
Yeah.
That would have to be the Bears in this matchup.
For sure.
I think they have to believe that. So every team is going to lean into that, but I think that it would favor the Bears more.
Bears were way too ramped up in the last game. Austin Booker with a couple of flags. How do you make sure that they control themselves as they open this game?
Well, I think when you look back at that game, right, it definitely some costly penalties there. I think bottom line, it comes to using that energy to turn that into execution. I think for one thing, too, the veteran leadership, I believe, 14 players here have postseason experience. It's going to be on them, too, to really help set the tone for this game tomorrow.
Yeah, Kevin Byers going to have his pregame speech ready. He said he comes up with that a couple minutes before, maybe early in the morning. He's going to have all day to think about it. I don't know that you can tell someone how to react when you have Soldier Field jump in like it's going to be Saturday night, but it's going to take them a minute to settle into this game, I think.
I can't wait to see what the atmosphere is like Saturday night. One of the Bears' biggest celebrity fans is Ashton Kutcher. He's actually turned his wife, Mila Kunis, into a big Bears fan as well. Before week 16, that game against the Packers, Kutcher, who claims he's not one to exaggerate, he said the December 20th game was the most important day of his life. In fact, he called that Saturday night game the most important day of mankind. No, he doesn't exaggerate. He was on the Rich Eisen show today, and he was asked how important tomorrow is.
Anybody who's a Bears fan is like we almost just decided not to eat cheese anymore because the Packers are represented by cheese. Like, I will go on a dairy-free diet just to protest the Packers. Like, that's how hardcore.
Understood.
But I wouldn't want to hurt the dairy industry, so I won't do it.
Yeah. You have a heart.
I really don't like the Packers. And I know the Packers well. I know Caleb is going to be there to play. I know the team's going to be there to play, but I feel like I have to be there to play. I went to a game last season, and Ryan Poles made the mistake of giving me his phone number. And so I blow him up about things that I see. And I'm sure that they don't matter at all, and I'm sure that they're not inconsequential. But I was watching the preseason, and I was watching Luther Burden, and he's a rookie.
Yeah, right.
And when it was a run play, he left his mouthpiece out every single time. And I'm like, Ryan, will you let Luther know that he's showing, he's telling, he's giving to tell on every down, right? Like whether or not he's going to run or whether it's going to be a pass play.
Yeah.
And then I noticed in the last game, he actually caught the ball, didn't have his mouthpiece in, and got clunked. It was so, but I don't know if it had anything to do.
I'm telling you, the guy's an asset to Ryan Poles.
Yes.
Ian Cunningham may get a job as a GM in Atlanta. I think Ryan Poles should hire Ashton Kutcher.
Or at least as a regional scout. Right? Hollywood.
Wow. We're going to wrap up the show now, and I just want you guys to give me a feel of what do you think it's going to be like out at Soldier Field? What is the atmosphere going to be like before this game and then during the game, with no matter what the weather's like?
Yeah, they got the rally towels going, and I think, last time these two teams met, it was a Saturday night. It was the loudest I had ever heard Soldier Field. I am expecting the exact same. All the players who have been in the playoffs before say, you take that field for warm-ups. Those sidelines are packed, and that's when it really hits you that this game means more.
I hope people look around and realize that the Bears have returned to relevance, and it's been a long time since we've been able to say that, whether it was 2018 or going back to 2010 season. And the Bears are back. And it's not the same old Bears. There's a different vibe with Ben Johnson. He brought it to town. They have responded to him. And I think they're going to respond to him tomorrow night. It's going to be a very special occasion for Bears fans. And I don't think the season is going to end tomorrow night.
The narrative has completely changed around this Bears team because of Ben Johnson and what he's done so far. In his first year here, completely exceeded expectations. I'm going to expect that we're going to be able to feel Soldier Field rocking all the way from here, Fox Chicago.
Yeah, they won't have to pull down Soldier Field. It's going to come down on its own. Fox Chicago, your destination for the Bears and Packers Saturday. Coverage begins with Bears Game Day Live at 12:30, NFL doubleheader at 3:30. And no matter what happens with the Rams and Panthers, we're going to kick off the game at 7:10 with the Bears and Packers here on Fox. Stay with us after the game as well. Full reaction plus analysis. We'll have post-game media availabilities from Ben Johnson and the players. Cassie will be inside the locker room. We'll carry Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson's press conferences. Real quickly, Bears win?
Bears win 24-21.
David.
Bears 23, Packers 21.
Ooh, Bears 19-16. I'm going to say Bears win.
Bears are winning the football game. I'm not giving you a score. You know I am pulling for the Bears. And if you're watching after the game and the Bears don't win, you know I am going to be one sad man on set. That is it for Chicago Sports Tonight. For Cassie, Tina, and David, thanks for watching. We'll see you Saturday on Bears Game Day Live at 12:30. And then after the game with our post-game show on Fox Chicago.